Hi everyone. This week I have joining me Mike Parks, who is one of the co-founders of Snag Tackle. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, all good. So you're ready to be grilled then all about Snag Tackle.
Oh, let's do it. Let's go.
So, well, we may as well start at the very beginning. And you can tell us who are Snag Tackle and how did Snag Tackle come about?
Well, it's probably best to start. How did it come about, rather than who we are first? It was one of my best mates, Mark, who's also one of the co-founders. It was him and his brother Andy got together and said, "Look, we're going to set something up." And it came about because we'd all been in little sponsored teams with names of this and different named brands at different times, and found things to be a bit clicky if you weren't right at the top of your game, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
We noticed again. We tried to corner a bit of the market where the rod licenses went through the roof after lockdown, and lots of people were trying to join. But there didn't seem to be a collaborative place for everybody to be able to try and learn a little bit and share expertise.
Right.
So we came up with the idea of using Snag to be able to educate people and help people to grow. We've got some guys in our team at the moment that started off at nowhere, didn't know how to tie rigs. They've come on a couple of socials, and now they're fantastic anglers and doing some really great stuff for the sport for themselves. So
Oh,
we
okay.
started off doing that. Andy then went on to Ventures New. He runs a company called Bankbound, doing photography, that kind of thing, and some mugs
Right.
and t-shirts, I believe. And myself and Mark carried on with Snag Tackle and kept going and plodding away and plodding away. And we've now got a team of, I don't know, 100 odd anglers,
Oh,
male,
wow.
female, old, young, from every single part of the UK. Great bunch of guys and girls, and we keep growing, we keep moving forwards, but with the ethos that everyone's here to learn, and no question's a daft question. And a lot of the guys do go out of their way to support each other, and not just in angling either. There's been a lot of people who've had life issues, that kind of thing, and they've been supported quite heavily by members of the team. So it's turned into a real
Oh,
little
right.
community based on just the idea of giving people the ability of learning how to tie rigs and use some good components.
Oh, that's quite um, uh, not a backstory I was expecting, actually. I just presumed it was going to be, we wanted to bring a cheaper products to the market and do away with cart tax, which seems to be a buzzword for
Yep.
the smaller companies. And that's really interesting. It's really nice to know as well. So, in terms of the products that you do,
Yeah.
um, what do you do in terms of sort of quality? Is that like a team thing, or have you done? I mean, obviously, before you had the team, you obviously had the products.
Yeah.
So, what was your process there? How did you go through to make sure that the products are the quality you want and the quality that's going to sell?
Yeah. So we said that, on the basis that, like, Mark, for example, he's not a great range caster. I like casting at distance. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge caster.
Okay.
But we were able to actually start putting the products through the testing of being able to look at people who can't cast very far, people that can cast far, and make sure everything kind of holds together. And also on different
Okay.
types of lakes. Mark lives in Essex. He's got a lot of, small day ticket gravel pits. Um,
Yeah.
I did a lot of my testing through France and Belgium, and going out to some
Oh,
big
okay.
lakes and doing stuff out there. A lot of fishing using boats at distance. And it was, there's stuff in the range, don't get me wrong, that I personally wouldn't use, but Mark does, and other people want to. But we make sure when we get
Oh,
it,
right.
we put it out to myself, Mark, now Chris, and our consultant Johnny to start with. We all start using it, and there's certain patterns of hook that I never thought I'd use until Mark stripped my tackle box bare in France one year and said you can only use these. My head was
Right.
spinning,
Okay.
but all of a sudden I now absolutely love that pattern of hook, which is our claw hooks. I never thought it would be something that I'd move away from my curve hooks that I adore. Um,
Mm.
but it's about putting it through its paces, and whether if I don't like the product, I find a way to be able to use it. Or I'll give it to some of the lads and say, I want you to test this for 6 months and get me some results. I want to know, have you had any pull, like hooks, for example? Are they pulling straight? What are they like
Yeah.
with sharpness? Can you sharpen them? Do they dink over really easily? All of these kind of things, and we try and do as much as we can in the angling situations. Don't get me wrong. There's pressure tests you can do and all of this kind of thing, which is great. But for me, those tests sit a bit outside of an actual angling remit. They are good to do,
Yeah,
don't get me
yeah.
wrong, but I want to try and put things through a typical angling situation that people would face. And what's this
Yeah.
piece of tackle going to do? There's stuff we haven't brought to market and stuff that we have got to market that we've had to change certain parts to. You know, that there were some fantastic bits that we brought to market and then found out they were far too close to another company's product, so I can't go too much into that. And
Okay.
we had to remove them off the market very quickly. But
Oh,
you know,
right.
it's a very tight industry. You know, there's lots and lots of people doing exactly the same thing. And for us, we just want to make sure it's stuff that, if it's used, it's going to do what it says it does. And if it does what it says it does, is it the right price point for people? If we can match that up, then there's no reason we can't bring it. I don't want to say bring it to market because it's not necessarily things we're designing as such. Not
Yeah,
yet,
yeah.
anyway. We're still, quite young as a business, and we are growing. We've got over 130 lines of product, I think. Um,
Wow.
but don't get me wrong. For example, hooks. If you've got an 8, a 6, a 4, a 2, there's
Yeah,
four. There's
yeah,
4 lines of product there. If you see what I mean. So we've
yeah.
grown in testing and got lots and lots of stuff. We've got stuff wrong in the past, and we've got stuff very right in the past. And I think for
Right.
us, when you're looking at the product development, it's also looking at the people that are around you and making sure you've got a solid group of people around you and a solid team to be able to, trust in what they're doing and trust their word. And they then share everything after that. So, yeah, we just do whatever we can to test for, don't get me wrong, some stuff has been tested very, very quickly. And in the space of a month, it's been put to market. Other stuff,
Right.
like there's some barbless hooks we're trying to test out at the moment. There's not a lot of places we go to that are barbless, but we're going to France on the 1st of August. We're going out to a big fish water. It's barbless rules. Every single one of the pairs going out there are being given a set of these hooks and told, that's all you can use at the moment. I want you to really put these through the test, and we'll see what happens.
Right. That's really interesting. It's so, so from a product's perspective, then, did you look at just what was on the market and what you could buy to match it, or was it more about um, specific to your? Because you were saying some of the products you don't actually use,
Yes.
so I'm guessing to get that wider view, was that just something that you kind of looked at what other people were doing and tried to source a similar product, or did you have a different thought pattern behind that?
Well, it's a mixture of all of it, if I'm honest with you. It was looking at
Right.
what are the trends at the moment. Because let's be honest, if you're
Yeah.
not in with the trends, you're not going to do business, if we're very honest about the business side of it,
Very
right?
true. Yeah.
So we had to make sure we were on trend with what the bigger players in the industry are putting out there, so people can buy those bits of terminal tackle that they require. And yes, that fall into a little bit of copying or whatever, but trends are trends, and you've got to be able to match the trend to be able to build your base and drive it forwards when you're looking at business.
Yeah.
And for us, it was let's look at those trends. There are a multitude of manufacturers out there, and we'd get
Right.
samples from each of them, for example, or buy 500 from each of them and see which ones
Right.
we liked best. So, there's a multitude of manufacturers out there. Don't get me wrong, anyone tells you they're not based in China, the majority of them are. We have other businesses that we work with that are in other places around the world. But, a lot of the stuff does come from Chinese manufacturers. And we would go to different manufacturers and say, right, show us what you can do, and we'd look at it. Maybe how quickly a swivel would bend, or like the Ronnie swivels. That they're prone at times for some manufacturers of pulling over if they're caught at the wrong
Oh,
angle.
okay.
So, for example, if you get a
Right.
snag under a stone, it could pull it over. So, which ones are stronger? Which ones are heavier? And it's all of these different kind of things to see what's a UK based thing, and also what can we use when we go on the big fishing and we go on the big lakes out in France or Holland or Belgium or further afield. So we kind of looked at all of those things and developed a team around quite a niche product base that we had. We didn't have a lot of products,
Right.
and then we've expanded from there based on what the team enjoy, what they like, what they've tested, and what they've said is a proven good product for them to use and they enjoy. There's been products, I've got bags and bags of stuff in my house that I'm ready to just skip. And it's stuff that I'm
Oh,
going to
wow.
use again, and stuff that, for example, some lead clips that we were using to put onto leaders, and they were fitting nicely onto the swivels. We're thinking, right, they're great. But actually, in the fishing mechanism, when they were in the water, for some reason, they wouldn't pull like a running lead clip. they wouldn't pull off, and it was turning it into a bit of a death rig.
Oh, right.
We only found that out through testing it in margins and trying to really pull, and the leads weren't coming free, so they never went to market. And it's little things like that where potentially the plastic moulding for that batch wasn't working or that product wasn't working, so we won't use it. But it's all of those different types of things that you've got to look at to try and firstly make it a safe product, make it a product we can put to market, and make it a product people are going to buy. We've had products
Yeah.
where I've got bags and bags of floss caps, for example. Wow, bags and bags of them. We'd sell a few every here and there, but they're not the greatest of product, in my opinion, and they don't seem to sell very well. But there's other products that
Right.
we can't keep on the shelf.
Yeah. So you do, so sort of market trend does drive, but not exclusively then.
Mm,
Interesting that when we, I noticed, obviously you do your own branded
yeah,
hook links and everything else, but also noticed that you do ASSO,
yeah. So
um,
we
which is, I know of the product, and I know it's an exceptional product, but it's not really pushed in the UK at all, is it?
No, so we started working with ASSO about 2.5, 3 years ago, something like that. We were looking for a manufacturer for hook links that we could kind of work with, and they came out with an offering for us that we can actually start representing them within the UK and pushing their car.
Oh, okay.
Now, ASSO, if anyone does any sea fishing or fly fishing, ASSO is huge within the marketplace. Um, Within the carp fishing arena in the UK in particular, they're not as big as they could be. They have got some fantastic products. It's under a group of companies called Grupo, and that is one side of what they actually do. But they manufacture phenomenal amounts of lines, fluorocarbons, monofilaments, braids for different types of fishing, but not necessarily the carp industry. And it's something they're trying to break into in the
Oh,
UK. We've done quite a bit of work with them. We're still testing some of their products. We're still trying to get them
right.
to make a couple of other products that could go live in the UK. So, for example, we've been talking recently that the stiff-coated hook links are only in a gravel brown. Well, we need them in
Right.
a green and a black, for example. But it's for them again. It's market trend. They're not going to do something if it's not going to, they've got to produce a huge volume for it to be relevant. So we're working together on things like that. Some of their fluorocarbons. It's also getting them to match not necessarily match what other businesses do, but in Europe, the marketing, or like for example, they're big in Hungary, Czech Republic, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The marketing out there isn't the same and isn't as forwards in regards to how good the pictures need to be than in the
Right.
UK. So a lot of UK marketing, you've only got to look at some of the films that go out there. They're phenomenally produced. Whereas some of the pictures that you would use in other countries, for example, to promote products, don't need to be that way. And
Yeah.
not necessarily in different angles of angling either, or different kind of ways of doing it. So we're working with those guys. They're phenomenal. Really, really nice guys and girls there. Products are fantastic. They're just a really, really good company to be working with. We have approached a couple of other companies to start doing some work as well. We are looking at developing our own
Okay.
range of hook links at the moment. Whether that
Right.
goes with ASSO or that goes with another company, we'll definitely be looking at 2 or 3 companies to produce something that we're looking for, and then put it through the ringer as such, and test and test
Yeah.
and test until we get to a point of going, this is the product we like, A, B, or C. Put it out to the team, and
Okay.
off we go. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment.
So just touching on something there that you mentioned about marketing.
Yes.
Obviously, we've all seen the amazing stuff that Nash
Yeah.
and Fox and Corda, all the big names. I mean, even down to the bait companies, DNA, Mainline, the stuff that they put out. They're employing teams of
Yeah.
videographers and editors and um, so in terms of your marketing, what approach did you sort of take, and have you got, where are you with that now? Is that looking to expand, or
Yeah. I
plans
mean,
for the future?
we expanded it. I think it was the back end of last year. And it's still work in progress in how we're actually doing it. We're slowly and slowly ramping up to what we're doing. I personally
No.
had a few life changes at the back end of last year that kind of kiboshed a lot of my fishing for a few months. I'd lost a family member, and it was like one of those. It just spiraled, and
Right.
I had to just focus on myself and not on the fishing company for a while. But at the back end of last year, we noticed that a guy that had kind of just taken over our media part time, a guy called Chris Fuchs, he'd set up a media team. He's running all of our media from his house.
Oh,
Everything was
okay.
just being done through him. He was trying to get in the team to bring the photos together. He was doing a lot of stuff. A couple of other guys, Hayden Farrington, a guy called Wayne as well. They started doing really, really well in some, creating little mini clips and that kind of thing. So at the back
Right.
end of last year, myself and Mark made quite a bold decision. I said, you know what, Chris deserves it. So that goes signed over this week. We signed over 5% of the business to him.
Oh,
So to
wow.
try and keep him on board and to give him a bit more of a motivation to succeed with it.
Yeah.
And Chris is going to be working closely with me over the next few months to develop some other types of videos, some very vloggy type stuff initially. And then as we kind of grow and build and build and build, any money that, for example, that if we do start making through YouTube, for example, or, you start generating any kind of revenue through those avenues,
Yeah.
all of that's going to get reinvested back into the media team initially to be able to build and build and build. And
Wow.
whether that be kit that we need, whether that be new cameras, new GoPros, and giving stuff out to the guys to say, right, do what you can. And this is a piece of software that you can edit on, or here's some licensed music you can gain access to. There's all of these kind of things that we are trying to do. Again, we're
Wow.
only a small firm. We're growing. We enjoy what we're doing. And we've got a phenomenal bunch of guys and girls behind us that really push us to strive, every single day of the week. I'll get 3-4 calls a day from team members just chatting. How are you? Oh, can you help me with this? What would you do in this situation?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm no expert. I've been fishing a long time, but I'm not an expert. But I learn from experiences myself.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell me something, and I'll be like, "Oh, I've never done that, but actually, I've been told this," and they'll go and perfect it. And it's kind of getting the ability to be able to move away from our 9 to 5s and our family lives, and being able to actually put ourselves in those situations now and film it. But look, all filming
Right.
projects don't go right. We filmed last weekend. Oh my god, it was so hot. Um, we were on the south coast, 35-degree heat. We got to midday. I said to Chris, right, pack your camera up. He said, why? I said, we're going to the pub to cool down, mate. It's too hot. It was unbelievable. The fish weren't eating. They were all on the surface in groups going like this. So, and you don't always get a shoot that you want. But when you've
Yeah.
got a good bunch of guys and girls around you, and the respect I've got for the team that we've got, and how well they do for each other, and towards myself, Mark, and Chris, you've got to strive forwards to be better and do whatever you can. So, it's the team that drives us.
Yeah. So I'm right in saying that. I mean, all what you've said so far. There's so much that goes on
Mm.
um, behind the brand, and as you say, you're a small brand, but it doesn't detract from the amount of work that's involved. But I'm right to say that this you don't do this full time. This is something you do alongside a full time job. Is that correct?
At the moment, yes, we're trying to get it to a
Yeah.
point where we can come away from it. But I also work in the solar industry, renewable energy. I absolutely adore it.
Right.
I'm very passionate in what I do. But Snag Tackle was initially formed for something for us to enjoy, um, and we do enjoy it. We enjoy it so much. But the good thing is, I predominantly deal with the public and the sales. Mark is
Okay.
much more of a quiet character. So he stops me from spending lots of money and does all the accounting and the back office stuff. And Chris sits there doing all the amazing media work. So between us, it works really, really well. I mean,
Yeah.
myself and Chris live 5 minutes apart. We're on the south
Oh,
coast
okay.
in between Bournemouth and Southampton in the New Forest. Mark lives in Essex. So he's got quite a big hub of stuff there. But, we just work well together. And for example, if I go away for a week fishing, Chris has got a key to my house. When we get orders coming through, he'll go over, bag it all up off the rails, and he'll send it off. So
Right.
between the three of us, it becomes quite easy to manage. But we've also got a guy called Johnny Bridgman. He's our other consultant. He helps out with some of the team stuff and supporting and helping and developing. We've got Wayne Chamberlain, Hayden Farrington, who's in the media team. Trying to think if I've got anyone else in my media team. Dave Dobson as well, who lives up north. He does a lot of the media stuff as well. So, I mean, that's kind of I don't want to say that's the core guys, because we've got three different types of team that we operate. Um,
Okay. Well. what? So while we're on that, then
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the big questions I think that everybody on social media is always posting. I want. How do I get on a team? I want to be on a team. What do I have to do? So how have these people become team members?
Okay.
Is it because of individual abilities, or do you have a different sort of way of recruiting?
So our recruitment's been varied. Okay. So we're not necessarily looking at somebody that's been doing it for years. Okay.
Right.
There's two things when we look at the recruitment side that we try and look for in somebody. It's honesty and integrity. And they're quite difficult to find in people at times. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want someone to be honest with me when I'm reading through the messages, because myself, Chris, and Mark, we make the final decision on all of this when it comes into the first team. So we've got three
Right.
teams: a bronze, a silver, and a gold. We have got a consultant team on top of that, but that's
Okay.
myself, Chris, Mark, and Johnny. And Johnny, for example, has made his way through all three of the teams. Chris has made
Right.
his way through all three of the teams and gone to media director. But you come straight in, we get everybody in as a bronze team member initially. If we don't know you, that's where you'll start. And you get a set percentage discount on that. But for me to be able to look at somebody and say they'd fit well, it's it's not saying, will you sponsor me? Okay, it's not say I can do this, that, and the other. Will you sponsor me? I want to get to
Mm.
know you a little bit more. Who are you? What do you
Right.
do? Where are you from? Where are you fishing? Why? Why do you want to come onto our team? Really simply, from those
Mm.
questions, you can typically find out if somebody is telling you the truth because you can see
Yeah.
their social medias, you can see what they're up to. Somebody
Yeah.
saying they fish 4 nights a week, they've got 7 friends on their social media and 2 pictures. Really, you've got to have something about you. You've got to have the ability to interact. And the team we've got are phenomenal. And we won't have anyone rock the apple cart in there. So
Right.
everyone has a good laugh. We've got Facebook pages, we've got WhatsApp groups for the bantery stuff, that kind of thing. But once they get into that bronze team, we ask them something simple that within the first 4 weeks they buy a few of the products, so they can actually talk about what they're using. Okay,
Right.
we don't ask for a lot. Share a few posts, and if you want to move forwards within the business and get better discounts and different teams and access to new products first, as such, we've got to meet you on a social. We run 2 to 3 socials, if not more, a year,
Oh, right.
predominantly at places like Linear. This year we've got one in a few weeks on Manor. A few weeks after that we got Hawcott. Next year I think we got Hardwick Smiths and B1. Last year we had Oxley's, St John's, B1, a
Wow.
few other little places. And we do quite a lot of the social environment as well. And we want to get to meet people so they can meet myself, they can meet Chris, they can meet Mark. So they're not looking at somebody who's just behind a screen. They can get to
Yeah.
understand who we are, sit down, have a burger with us, have a beer with us at a barbecue, and really get to know you as a character, because that's the only way you get to really see whether you're going to get on with that person or they're going to get on with your
Right.
brand as well.
So it's not just about sharing
No,
posts on Facebook then, and tagging the brand in when you're posting. It's
that
quite
does
a bit
help.
deeper than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that does help, don't get me wrong. And initially, yeah, we do expect people to do that. We do want you to put a hashtag Snag Tackle or share some of the posts or comment on some of the posts, that kind of thing.
I've been
That,
doing
that
that for you.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. But that does help. That goes a long way for the
Mm.
reach that we're trying to get. But it's also, we want people to be comfortable in asking questions. What I don't want is what I see on some groups and some forums and what I've seen on teams before that I've personally been on, where somebody asks a question and they get ripped apart for it. Or there's
Yeah, I
people
mean, you see
ripping
that a lot
apart
on
other
social media.
companies.
Yeah.
For me, if somebody wants to leave our team, for example, and wants to go to another company, I'd shake their hand, doff their cap, say, thank you very much. I wish you all the
Mm.
best.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody wanted to come back, which we've had a few times, people kind of tail between legs saying, Mike, I'm really sorry. I missed what we had. Can I come back? Yeah, no problems. These are the rules. This is what we
Yeah.
expect. We've got clothing. We don't expect everybody to wear the clothing, but if you can and you can afford a t-shirt, fantastic.
Yeah.
But once you move into like our silver and gold team, the expectations become a bit more. So
Okay.
there's things like being able to, like in the gold team, if we're going to do any promotions through the teams, the majority of the recommendations come from the gold team or the consultant team. They put a recommendation over to me and say, this person has been doing A, B, C, D, and E. I really think they
Right.
deserve a promotion. We do international competitions, which I think we're going to touch on another day.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that in a whole separate interview, I think.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. That's great. But it's just about being an all-round decent person and enjoying yourself, not having a pop at people left, right, and centre, not being a keyboard warrior, um, generally being an all-round nice person who wants to go out fishing, wants to learn, wants to go fishing with a group of like-minded people who also want to do
Yeah.
exactly those things, and support a little firm that we don't make money out of it as such at the moment. Okay, don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
You're never going to have a business that isn't. You don't want to make money, but
Yeah.
we've reinvested so much into not just product development but socials, barbecues, and helping supporting a lot of charities that we do at the moment,
All
and
right.
anything else that we can do. And it ticks the box for us at the moment. Our fishing gets paid for when we do our socials,
Yeah.
and we enjoy that. And for us, that's our pat on the back. The thank yous we get from people and the enjoyment we see when people catch a PB. I love putting a bucket of water over people's head, and most of the team now know that. Bless them, but it's all part of that camaraderie. There's the cliche of having a family, and it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I think some of the guys within the team take it that step further. We've got guys that are ex-forces who have struggled quite a bit in the past. And I've had their
Right.
partners phone me up and say, look, whatever you're doing with your guys, thank you, because it's now given them a sense
Wow.
of purpose. And that hit me. That got really deep for me of going, okay, well, something is going on here that I can't see. And it's,
Yeah.
when you get things like
That's
that and you think, okay, we're obviously doing something right. So let's carry on.
absolutely. I mean, that's as I say, that again, not something I was expecting to sort of glean from this chat. I think that's I mean, the ethos couldn't be further away from having guys just to buy product. And I think the other thing as well, anyway, with any, I mean, terminal tackle is not something that you go and buy every session or every, unlike bait, where you'd be buying bait
Yeah.
sort of on a regular basis. Terminal. So is there any plans for the future do you want to sort of go beyond terminal tackle? Would you like to have a range of, snag tackle luggage, or is that
Well,
something that?
we've already started producing a couple of things. So, and it's nothing
Okay.
major. It's like little cool bags, basically, at the moment, with the clothing
Oh,
firm that we
right.
work quite closely with, and they're fantastic little bits of kit. Maybe we will venture into other avenues. There's a few collaborations I'm looking to do with people that I know are smaller businesses who are doing very, very well.
Mm.
When you look at things like baits, um, we do a corn topper that's unflavoured, which is kind of a pop-up boilie type corn.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
actually heard very good things about that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fantastic. They're unflavoured, but they do have attractants built into the mixes. And we purchased those from another bait firm who rolled them for us.
Okay.
But when it comes down to if you're looking at hook baits and that kind of thing, it may be something we do a one-off of, that kind of thing. But, a
Right.
lot of the guys that are in the team are quite heavily tied into their bait firms and respect it. So, for example, myself, I'm very lucky to have a deal with NutraBaits. Like Chris has got a great deal with Mad Baits, and there's a few other firms that are in the mix there. And I don't think we'd want
Okay.
to deviate from what we do there. We're happy in what we do. We have got some strange little products. We've got like some slate. I forgot what they called. Like coasters for your drinks. We've got
Ah,
bottle
okay.
openers.
Yeah.
Little key rings to go on your keys. So there's always things like that get developed when people ask for them. But I mean, never say never. Never say never. So
No, so it's really interesting. So, if you anybody who's watching this now and thinking, actually, I really like that. I like what Snag stand for in terms of this, as you said, the camaraderie, the team spirit. Um, what's their what's their initial? I mean,
drop us a
do they
message.
come to you, just drop you a message, or
Yeah, I mean we've
do you
quite
actually look at other people as well? Do you look at their social media and think, actually, this, or is that not something
yeah, oh,
where
very much
you would
so.
approach them?
Oh,
No.
very much so. I have approached people
Oh,
in the
right.
past.
Okay.
Um, I've approached quite a few people in the past, and some of
Oh,
the
right.
team members that are on now, I've approached because I like their ethos. I like the way they do things, and I like the fact.
My email must have got lost then.
Well, I don't see everyone all the time, Mark, but I'm sure there's a place for you, my friend. But
But no, that's really so. So again, so social media then for people obviously is
huge.
plays a big part for
Yeah,
you, as a and as the team as a whole as well.
yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, for us, the majority of our team stuff goes on a Facebook group that we've got with everybody in it because it's very, very
Oh,
simple to do. It's a closed group for the team. Now,
right.
we've got
Okay.
different messenger groups for the silver team and gold team. We
Oh,
also have
wow.
a WhatsApp chat, which is just a chat. It's not always fishing related. It's just a bunch of guys and girls chatting away about life and random stuff. But the majority of the stuff goes to a Facebook page. So the first thing we ask people to have is a Facebook page, so that
Right.
we can add them to that and they can actually engage with what we do. Um,
Oh, okay.
then obviously Instagram, which is fantastic. TikTok, something we're building at the moment. Got one of our guys who's
Right.
literally looking at that. He's grown one of the pages so far, but we're looking to push that further because that's obviously quite prevalent at the moment.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got our YouTube pages as well. But if people want to be part of a team and they think they can, that they like the idea of what we're talking about today, drop us a message. No message, every single message gets read. Now we do have a
Right.
junior team, but our junior team is in the process of being rebuilt.
Okay.
Purely for the fact that we need to get some more insurances and checks done to be able to do anything with the junior team. Because the last thing we'd
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to do, we want to make sure everybody that have access to dealing with a junior team is CRB checked, DBS checked.
Yeah.
We've got the right first aid certification if we do a social. There's all of these kind of things that people don't think about sometimes with the junior team.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
With the adult team itself, I'm first aid trained. I know Chris is first aid trained and Mark's first aid trained. We've got our
Oh, wow.
insurances in place, but we have to make sure we've got that to host the socials. We're even
Oh,
looking at
okay.
something, you've got to look at food safety, and we're looking at that at the moment, or we're going to use other people because last thing we want is, anything to happen to the business because of a burger getting cooked wrong or something like that.
Wow.
You
Yeah. I
never
never
know.
even gave any of that a consideration, to be
Well,
fair.
in this day and age, you've got to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And a lot of our socials are hosted by a lot of our team members, but they'll bring friends along to come and meet us, and then they'll become team members and this kind of thing. So
Oh, okay.
we're going to start advertising we've got one at the end of October. I want to say 22nd, 23rd. I might be wrong. On Hawcott Lake in the Cotswolds. So
Oh,
that's going to
right.
go live on Facebook very, very soon with some tickets that are left. Um, and it's just, if people are interested, drop me a message. But don't do the typical, will you sponsor me? Tell me a bit about yourself. Yeah.
Mm.
Tell me something. Give me some pictures. Give me something to have a discussion with you. I might I'll sit there chatting to you for all evening if needs be, alongside 10, 15 other people to get to know
Yeah.
you a little
Yeah.
bit better. And then add you in the team. And, the Lions Den, some may say, but they're a real cool bunch of guys and girls. We've
Yeah.
got guys from Scotland all the way to down south, from east to west, all over. We've also got
Wow.
reaches across on the continent. We've got some guys using our stuff out in Belgium, Holland, France, Italy, Hungary. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, we've got the ability of going out there, and there's some good friends of ours that are doing that. But if people are interested, drop me a message. If the worst that can happen is that 5, 6 weeks down the line, you don't feel it's for you, then let me know. Wish you all the best. Off you go.
Mm.
But if you do see some validity in it, you do enjoy it, which 99% of people do. You engage with the guys that are on there. They'll ask questions. They will happily help. We've got
Right.
one guy, bless him. There's a guy called Adam Bembo on the team. I hope he doesn't mind me calling him out. Big Viking of a guy, nicest guy you can ever meet. Does so much for children in angling, loads and loads of stuff. But I remember when he first joined the team, and I got hounded. How do I tie this rig? Is this rig right? Can you help me here? I was having to tie rigs in the background and take photos and send them to him. But everyone else was as well. And
Right.
if you were to meet him now, he's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet in the sport. And he's now helping other people to do the same things that he asked us the questions for.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Brilliant.
but it's just different to the normal clicky team who don't really share, or it's breaking that secret squirrel mold, I suppose. I'll be the first one to help
Yeah.
people out. I don't mind. You ask me where I'm fishing to, and you bivvied, you bucketed behind me. I'll tell you, I'm not afraid of that.
Yeah.
There's too much of that, I think, in the industry, and sometimes there's lots of stuff on YouTube. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. There's so
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
out there, but nothing beats talking to somebody and them actually showing you face to face. And that's what we try and do. So if people
Yeah,
want to get
no,
involved with it, let us know.
it does sound really good. And I'll say for anybody who's, watching this and would like to be part of a team. I mean, as you say, it's no good coming to you must get it. Everybody else I've ever spoken to has the same thing where people just say, send me some of your hooks and I'll do a
Yeah.
review for you, or send me, what do I get that's free if I join the team? And clearly, I don't think there's any teams out there that I like that would do that anyway.
No,
But
gone are the days of that now. You used to be able to get some free samples and that in the days gone by, but
yeah,
I reckon we get 40, 50 messages a week saying that. And
wow,
don't get me
really?
wrong, a lot of that is, I think some of it is bots, personally, because it's people, it's like pages that have got 2 or 3 contacts, that kind of thing. So, but
Right,
you do get an
okay,
awful lot of it. Some of it I entertain. If I can see they've got a good following, I'm not necessarily going to send you some free stuff, but I'll have a conversation with you and explain what our teams are
okay,
like. And we've got people that have come on board on that basis and really enjoyed it. Um,
right.
but is the old saying that my dad taught me, bless him, was you don't get something for nothing. Okay.
No,
If you're
it's very
coming to me,
true.
you've only just joined the page. We can see that when you start liking it. You can see how
Mm.
long someone's been following you for,
Yeah,
and you've never bought a product, you've never engaged with us, you've never met anyone, and you're like, I want your gear. Or the other one is, oh yeah, I bought your stuff from here. Well, we don't sell it from there. But this is the honesty and integrity part. It's,
mm.
tell me talk to me. We're here to help. We want you to, become better anglers ultimately, whether you're using our product or something else. Talk to me, engage with me, make me laugh.
Mm.
And we'll add you into the teams. And, at that point, it becomes very, very clear once we meet somebody whether, it's very rare that we ask people to leave the team. Don't get me wrong, it has happened,
Right,
through online trolling, that kind of thing. And I've told people
right.
categorically, that's not us. But everyone makes a mistake, right? Everyone does things wrong in life at times, but they've got to learn from it. But you
Mm.
also do some good stuff as well. And when you do the good stuff, we like to encourage that. So reward and recognition throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's a really interesting story, and it's I, I just think the way that I mean, it's a big team,
Yeah,
which some companies like to have the big teams, some like the smaller ones. But your interaction, but I do know that the stuff you do with the teams in terms of fishing and the competition stuff, the charity support, is another level again, and we will definitely have a conversation
yeah, that's fine.
just about that because I think that's really interesting. I mean, some of the big competitions that you fish in Europe and that is it's again it kind of makes the snag tackle team a bit different again, doesn't it? Um,
100%. But then, I mean, I know we'll talk about the competitions at a later date, but it's the charity stuff as well.
mm,
The amount of stuff that all of our guys do for different charities. Personally, at the moment, we're looking after where we're helping anglers against cancer with Children with Cancer UK. We've been doing that for a
oh,
fair few
okay,
years. Got a big event at Linear, back end of September, mid of September, end of September. Can't remember the dates. Got Manor and St John's.
right,
Big event going on there. Check out Anglers Against Cancer if anyone's interested. Really, really good event. And again, you've got some of the gold team that are marshalling it. So all of my guys go out and marshal it for the weekend, and they're not just there to weigh your fish and deliver your dinner. If you want a bit of help, ask them, and they'll help you. They'll bring their
oh,
tackle
okay,
boxes round and do whatever they can to help people try and catch some fish. Ultimately, but
yeah,
again, when you're looking at that, it's about giving back a little bit. Not
mm,
necessarily just to the angling industry, but helping other people that can't, that need that help. And if we can help out in any way and give a little bit of our time to support with that, but with a good bunch of guys who are all grounded and part of a team and a brotherhood,
yeah.
some of us really, then yeah, it's nice. You finish the weekend absolutely shattered, but you walk away going, we've done well there. So, and it's a little pat
Yeah,
on the back, and it makes you feel good as well. So, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. No, it's been brilliant, and as I say, I'm really excited about talking to you again about the other bits. We could go for it now, but I don't think we've got enough time.
Let's do that another
But
day.
yeah,
Let's save
yeah,
the France trip to
we'll
another
get
day.
that scheduled in. But no, Mike, it's been absolutely brilliant to talk to you.
Thank you, mate.
Snag Tackle is Well, I've certainly been educated. You're certainly not the average run of the mill um, terminal tackle business,
Mm.
and I think the team thing is the bit that really stands out from for what you do. So yeah, thanks very much for your time. I know
Appreciate
you've
it,
had
Mark. Cheers.
a busy day as well, and I really look forward to catching up with you in probably the next couple of months.
Yeah, brilliant. Let's catch up soon. Take care, Mark. Ta-ra.
Brilliant. Thanks,
Bye.
Mike. Cheers.